What is up, everybody? Welcome in to another edition of the Wide Eye Fantasy Corner. We are going to get into stardoms, situms. We're going to get into waiver wire stuff. We're going to go over all the injuries you need to know about and so much more right after this. So we're going to put this car into drive. But before we do that, I need you guys to like, subscribe to the channel. We're going to start pumping these videos out. It's football season. We're going to get you the things you need to know before you need to know them. So, first up, we got injuries. So, I am just going to go over this whole list here, okay?
There's a bunch.
So, there's a bunch. So, we got Debo, Samuel, and AJ Brown out a couple of weeks. There's no official designation. There's just a couple of weeks, both have said. Uh, Cup out indefinitely on IR. Puka Nakua 5 to 7 weeks on IR. Isaiah Pacheco 6 to 8 weeks on IR. Joe Mixon is questionable. Raheem Mostert questionable. Kenneth Walker is out with an oblique injury. Keenan Allen is out with a heel injury. Hollywood Brown has been placed on season-ending IR. T. Higgins is still a couple of weeks away. Tua is on IR 4 to 6 weeks. Christian McCaffrey, obviously IR 4 to 6 weeks. David Njoku out with an ankle injury. Evan Ingram week to week with a hammy. Jake Ferguson out with an MCL injury. And Justin Jefferson is day to day with a thigh contusion. So that is a lot. So if you need to
That's a whole
rewatch
lot.
that, rewind it back, watch it again. If you heard anybody that's on your team, we're going to go over some waiver wire pickups to help you guys out. I just have a couple, Spoon. I know you have
Go
quite a
ahead.
few to
Yeah,
go over.
I have a lot.
Samaje P. Ryan, Caleb Steele, obviously with Pacheco going out, it's going to be committee backfield. Kareem Hunt also just got signed by them. If you can pick any of those three guys up, one of them is going to get a leading role in a committee field. So we don't know who yet. We don't know how it's going to shake out. It's good to stash one on the roster. Ty Chandler for the Minnesota Vikings. They have shown as of last week that they're going to do more of a committee field with Aaron Jones and Ty Chandler. So that's a good pickup. Raheed Shaheed, if he still isn't unclaimed in your league, go get him. The dude's a legitimate deep threat now. Go get that guy. Streaming defenses this week, the Pats, Browns both have good fantasy matchups. Demarcus Robinson for the Rams at wide receiver with Puka and Cup being out both. Make sure to pick him up. Hunter Henry actually has been a really big name that a lot of people haven't been mentioning. He's had 4 top 15 tight end seasons already in his career. He's a legitimate threat. He can be a threat week to week. Mike Gesicki, he's third in targets among all tight ends right now. Another great waiver wire ad. And then Juwan Jennings with Debo missing some time. That's a must grab. So that's all I got.
Damn, buddy, you hit half mine already.
Oh, well, it's only like 6 dudes. I felt like I should just throw a couple names out there, but oh,
Well,
sorry.
so the tight end conversation on my part is basically over.
Okay.
Hunter
Sorry.
Henry and Mike Gesicki are by far the two best tight ends available at the moment. Go
Yep.
grab one of them as soon as you can. I don't have a tight end problem. I have Kittle, who's
Even if
he
you
just
don't have a tight end
yeah,
problem, it's
just try to
worth
stash
grabbing
him.
one of these guys because, you have a Dalton Kincaid and he gets hurt. What do? Oh no. Taysom Hill's on the waiver. Or you grab this guy now and then you plug him in. Like I'm a
So
big fan of having a backup at every position.
I'm not. I don't think you need it. I think you can stream a tight end the one
You
week that you need one.
you don't need
Honestly,
one until you
until you do.
do. You
Um,
don't until you do.
so here's my thing though. So okay, I mean, we're both winning our leagues. Our both of our theories are working out.
Yeah.
For anybody watching at home that doesn't believe what we're saying is accurate, I am 2-0 in 2 leagues, and I'm 1-1 in 2 leagues. And one of the leagues that I lost had Tua, and he only put up 5 points. And honestly, I lost by like 10. So there's where my L came from. And then the other one is a dynasty that I just don't really care about. It's the first time doing dynasty. I'm going to try a little bit, but I'm not trying as hard as I am in my redraft leagues. Okay. Now to move from that is that if you're having trouble at the quarterback position, lots of quarterbacks are going down. My quarterback went down last week, Jordan Love. Guess what? I already filled him up. I filled both spots with Baker.
You filled up Jordan Love?
No, I did not fill up Jordan Love. I filled both spots with Baker, and guess what? Won both leagues with Baker this week. Love it. So
Baker is him.
I also have Tua in a league. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you the quarterbacks that I'm aiming to get myself. One of them is Derek Carr.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a no-brainer. Dude's gone off the last
Mm.
2 weeks.
Popping off.
He also has a very favorable matchup this week, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check this.
The Saints play the Eagles, so yes.
Eagles, so yes,
Favorable
they
matchup.
give up a lot of they do give up a lot of points to quarterbacks.
Not a strong secondary there in Philly.
Not as I thought it was going to be a little bit stronger, but no.
Yeah. They're still young. It's a young secondary, so they could still get better, but not there yet.
But Derek Carr is my main one that I'm after. Now, if I don't get him, or if let's say you're in a league where somebody already picked him up, there are some other options you can go with, especially if you're going to try to stream quarterbacks. Because if you're trying to stream quarterbacks, there is no reason whatsoever you should not grab Gardner Minshew now, start him next week against Carolina, and just watch the guy get you your 18 points that you need from a quarterback to win.
God,
Okay?
could you imagine a Las Vegas party in Gardner Minshew's house?
That would be
I
awesome.
mean,
I would
that
be
would be
down
the
for
most freaking
it.
hype party. I mean, bro, that's gonna be so in like 30 years, we're gonna hear about like remember that Gardner Minshew kid? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, did you know one time he did blow off a tiger? Like, we're gonna hear some crazy shit, I'm
I
telling
feel
you
like
one
I
day.
feel like we will. Now if
YouTube, don't
ne-
demonetize me for saying blow.
now if neither of those guys are available and you want to go a different route, that's completely fine. I got another quarterback for you.
Who
And
you got?
that's you're going to love it, but it's Sam Darnold. He's got the weapons. He's got multiple
He's
weapons that
getting
he can
Jordan
throw
Addison
to.
back most likely this week.
Yep. And why not? Get him on your team. He's going to put up points. The quarterback position is just so just out there. There's so many that you can get. Just
Yeah.
plug him with one of those. My start of the week, like I said, though,
Mm.
is if you're trying to stream one, Gardner Minshew, go after him. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Running
I like
backs,
it.
you already tackled it with Carson Steele. Honestly, Samaje P. Ryan, that's a good one to get in
Yeah.
that backfield too if you want one.
Mhm.
Personally, I'm staying away from that backfield just because I know it's going to be a committee. Pacheco was
Yeah, yeah,
obviously
I'm
the
just
clear,
I was throwing
yeah,
that out as, like, if you have a spot, you could stash one of those guys away, there's a
and just
chance they
hope
could
that
be a
one of them,
spot
yeah,
start sometime.
and just hope that they become the clear cut one. If
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
I'm staying away from it personally. I think the
That's
Kareem Hunt,
totally fair.
him signing back, yeah, that's cool, but it's not the Kareem Hunt that we're used to. So
No.
don't get
No.
carried away there. Don't go
This
pick him
isn't
up.
2016.
Yeah, don't go pick him up on your waiver just because you're like, oh my god, Kareem Hunt's back. Like, no,
Oh
he's
my
still
god, Spoon said add Kareem Hunt. You heard him. He's
no.
promising fantasy championships if you sign
I'm
Kareem
not.
Hunt.
I actually have a different running back that I would kind of look at, and that's Braylon Allen for the Jets.
Okay.
So he got a pair of tutties last week. I'm just for me, I have a league that I have Brees Hall in, and right
Yeah.
now with the way injuries are going, I'm probably going to go ahead and snag him off the
Mhm.
waiver, put him behind Brees Hall because if Brees Hall goes down, this guy's going to be the clear cut one. It's not going to be a committee. He's going to take over. And from what I saw last week, he played pretty damn good,
Yeah, he
and
did.
I'm all about it. So it's not going to be a committee if he goes down. I'm just going to take that insurance policy just in case Brees Hall misses a couple games.
Yeah, I
That's
don't
it.
hate that.
Don't really have much on the running back. I mean, obviously, if Chuba Hubbard's still available in your league, like you need to
Yeah,
go ahead
go
and get him
for it.
off the waiver. Get him off there. I do have a little bit. I'm going to talk about Jonathan Brooks for a second, though. I know that there's still
He's
some
still in the
leagues.
pup list though.
He is, but I'm just saying that there are still some leagues where he's available. I'm telling you now, when he comes back,
He gonna be a force.
take him. Get him off that waiver as soon as you can because I looked at it. I looked in a couple leagues. I stashed him, but I dropped him for Alan Lazard. I shouldn't have done that. That was my mistake. I should have just held on to Jonathan Brooks, but I gave him up. Somebody else grabbed him, but there's still a couple of my leagues where he's available. Try to get him, stash him if you have the room. On to wide receiver. I think my big one of the week, honestly, is Quentin Johnston.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Uh,
it's
that's, I mean, I think you just needed to give this offense a little bit of time. Obviously, Justin Herbert losing both of his weapons to free agency. He's got to find a new weapon. I saw a little bit from Quentin Johnston that I liked.
two
Uh,
tuds.
I mean, obviously, 2 tuds, 6 targets. I mean, I hope that he gets at least 7, maybe 7, 8 in the future games, but
If he could average somewhere between 4 and 7, I think that's a good pickup because
it's not bad.
I think at least 2 of those each week are gonna be red zone targets
Right.
because they're
But I
gonna
mean,
get
I'm not gonna start him though.
no, 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 no.
I would just use him for
Spot starts,
basically, yeah, if you need him 1 week, perfect,
flex
take him.
play, good matchup, throw him in your flex.
Alec Pierce is another good one. So the
Big one.
problem that I'm dealing with right now in 2 of my leagues is that I have Pittman. Luckily, I drafted really good, so I have backups that can go in. For instance, I'm gonna go ahead and
Yeah,
bring up one of my starts of the week. I'm starting Ramondre Stevenson over Michael Pittman this week because
yeah,
Michael Pittman's not getting it done. But who is Alec Pierce? And obviously, if Anthony Richardson likes throwing the ball to Alec Pierce more than Michael Pittman, or maybe if he's just throwing the ball better to him, I know that Michael Pittman's still getting his targets. He's just not doing anything with them. But
yeah,
Alec Pierce is. So I'm going to lean towards that, and I'm going to go ahead and snag him off the waiver if he's still there.
yeah, I sold on, totally just blanking just now. Michael Pittman. I sold
Yeah.
on Michael Pittman. I had him. I was high on him. I thought he was gonna be good this season. And it's still early. He could still be good, but I had a guy who's willing to give up JJ for Devontae and Pittman, and I don't think Pittman's gonna be that guy. He is, he's gonna get 5, 6 targets a game. He may haul in a touchdown a couple weeks, may have a couple weeks where he's a 15-point scorer, a couple weeks where he's a 6-point scorer. Um, it's not getting it done for me. I need somebody that I can plug into the flex position that I know is gonna get me double digit points in a PPR league every single week, and I can't trust him, so I sold him. I
Yep.
took a little bit of a, low end deal, but, I ended up with JJ, who's wide receiver 1, and 97-yard touchdown would be real nice every week, but that's obviously not gonna happen.
I'm just saying it's taking a lot of me right now to not drop Michael Pittman. And honestly, if you have him and you're listening, I'm going to tell you right now, hold on to him for like maybe another week or two. Don't give up on him just yet. But
I did.
I am very close to giving up on him. I think he's
I
just
gave it up. I sold.
yeah. I'm not
I
sold.
sold
I'm
it.
not sold quite yet, but it is frustrating. Trust me, and it's going to be even more frustrating whenever you just drop your fourth or fifth round pick to the waiver. It's
You
very
know
frustrating.
It's really frustrating to me right now that I haven't talked a lot about? It's really frustrating to me that, uh, Tua is hurt because that
Yep.
just plummets the value of Tyreek and Jalen Waddle both.
Oh, 100%. I think if you have one of those running backs in Miami, the
You're
value's up.
so set.
You're
Dude,
starting
sell.
them.
I know Devon Achane can be a top 10 fantasy running back, but you could bill him right now as the number 1 back in the league
You
and pull
could.
off like a Bijan type trade with somebody who doesn't pay attention quite as much or
And if
something
they're
like that. You could fleece somebody with an Achane trade right now.
but I was gonna say too, if you can't get a great value from him, I would maybe just wait. Wait after this week.
Yeah,
Let him because he's gonna pop off. I
he's
promise you
gonna
he
yeah.
is.
Those Miami running backs are gonna get worked.
And then sell him for maybe a 2 for 1. Maybe
Yeah,
get 2 maybe if you need some depth,
yeah,
like at wide receiver, get another running back who's kind of almost to Achane's
yeah.
level, but not quite, and then get you some wide receiver depth or something.
Yeah, you went wide receiver hero in your draft and your hero wide receiver isn't doing so great. The later round picks aren't doing so great. Get some depth. Not gonna hurt you.
I
Um
like that. I do before I'm almost done, I
yeah,
promise.
no. I was just gonna ask what you
Um,
had next.
I was just gonna say that obviously I think if you have Justin Jefferson or Jordan Addison, if one of them is possibly out this week, grab Jalen Naylor off the waiver and I would go ahead and start him, honestly. I
I will
probably
say
would.
this as the resident Vikings fan, as you can see. Justin Jefferson was asked at the beginning of the season, "Yo, there's one player on this team that's gonna pop off this year. Who do you think that's gonna be?" And without hesitation, he goes, Speedy Naylor. Speedy Naylor gonna show everybody. Jalen was drafted the same year as JJ. Jalen Naylor's been hurt the past couple of years and never really got to be on the field. But every year at training camp, everybody be like, dude, this kid looks amazing. He looks like a stud. And then he would get hurt. So he hasn't got to show it yet. And he showed last week he was the number 1 weapon for the whole 4th quarter and most of the 3rd quarter, and he got the job done. So
Yep.
I think it's a good pick.
I'm gonna skip tight ends because you took both of them basically. I am
Yep.
going after one of those tight ends, but I'm not
Yep.
gonna tell you which one I'm going after because I hope that you're not going after the
You
same
should
one as
check your
me.
phone. You should check your phone right now, see if that's
Really?
the one you were looking at.
Did you did you send me a
Look at him. He's like, "Oh shit.
did you
Oh
send me
shit.
a
Which one?" No, 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 no. I picked up one of the tight ends in a league.
Oh, is it the other one? Yeah, I don't need
Yeah,
him
yeah.
in I don't need okay, so in that league I have Kittle, so that's why I'm saying that I don't need the
Yeah,
tight
don't
end.
need him in that one.
But did you pick up
I went Gasecki.
where'd you go? Because I think I saw that. Yeah, like I picked up Shaheed in that league
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah, no,
Got
for
him
sure.
quick, took him off the waiver.
By the way, if you guys aren't using Sleeper for your fantasy football leagues, you're fucking up, honestly. Like Sleeper is
Big
superior
time.
to everything. You should be using Sleeper. It honestly, like when I'm looking up stats for the show and for other things just because I enjoy that, I use Sleeper to look up the stats. It's so easy. We're not endorsed by them in any way, shape, or form. We're not big
Nope.
enough to have sponsors yet. We just love Sleeper. So use Sleeper. But
Defensive
uh
start of the week, Tampa Bay. They play the
like it.
Broncos. Come on.
Love it.
Give me Tampa. Tampa's I know I'm a Cowboys fan, die hard. I still love players. I still love. There are some other teams that I have love for. Tampa Bay is one of them because I'm in love with Baker Mayfield. What can I say? I'm a Longhorns fan, and it pains me to say that, but I love him. Dude's fun to watch. I thoroughly enjoyed watching him run the ball last week.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Love it.
Love it.
So
He loves his quarterback
you'll
getting hype.
see you'll see in a couple weeks just how much I really love that. Okay.
All
But
right.
that's all the waivers I got for you this week.
All right, cool, cool, cool. Well, let's move on to must starts then. Are you good with
Okay.
that?
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
cool with that. So just to give everybody the rundown too for must starts, I'm not going to be picking guys like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Alvin Kamara. I'm not going to be picking them every single week. Whenever you hear me say must starts, it's going to be somebody that may you may be contemplating starting him over somebody else on your team.
Yeah,
Just
for sure.
letting
For
everybody
sure.
know.
I try to stay away from the big names, but sometimes they'll pop up on my list. So,
I
like
get that.
for example, my quarterback this week, coming off a hot one, Kyler Murray. Kyler
Yep.
Murray, in my opinion, is the number one person you should be starting. They're playing Detroit. Detroit, their defense isn't good. I've said it 100 times. Dan Campbell's defenses are fraudulent. They are not good defenses, and Kyler Murray's going to fucking cook that
Yep.
defense.
I
So
like
that's
it.
my quarterback. Who's your quarterback?
My must start of the week is Joe Burrow.
Gotcha.
But I'm gonna go
Like
ahead
it.
and tell you that Baker plays Denver. You just go
That's
ahead and
yeah.
start him.
Yeah, start Baker.
Derek Carr plays Philly. Go ahead and start him.
Yeah.
So
That Philly D is not looking good either. My must start running back of the week is Jordan Mason. The Rams are giving up 5.5 yards a carry, and they have given up 3 rushing touchdowns in the past 2 games. I expect Mason to get the ball 20 times. And so at average, that's over 100 yards. He'll probably end up with a touchdown if that happens. So, 100 yards and a touchdown, that's a weekly start. That's a start of the week.
for me, my start of the week, like I said before, is Ramondre Stevenson.
Yep, yep. You covered that.
Absolutely. Yep, I already covered that. But I mean,
Cool.
you have to start. I mean, I love James Cook against Jacksonville as well.
James Cook is a great
James Cook
start.
is
Travis
going off.
Etienne, for that matter, is a must start against Buffalo. Both
Yeah.
running backs in that game are neither of those defenses scare me a whole lot. So both running backs in that game
Well, I
going
mean,
to get a lot of work.
you said. I mean, let's go ahead and just cover it. Achan must start.
Must start.
Any running back that you have for Miami, I would be consider
I would
starting them
plug
right
him
now.
in. Yeah, Jalen
Uh,
Wright, even if he gets the active nod, plug him in.
Josh Jacobs from Green Bay
Must start.
must start against Tennessee. Absolutely.
Yeah, I would 100% say that. I would say my biggest like sit on it type thing. Joe Mixon has been really hot. The Vikings defense has played the run really well so far in the past 2
Yep.
games. Uh, I'm not saying sit him, but I'm saying maybe flex play him. Like you may not want him as your running back to your running back 1 this week. So,
Listen, man,
or if you have somebody really hot that you could plug into your flex over him.
I don't know why we haven't been hitting sits because honestly, one of my big sits that is projected one of the most points in fantasy this week is Jonathan Taylor. And
Okay.
he's going against a tough Chicago Bears defense. And I'm going to tell
Yeah.
you now, I would be I know that he's
And according to Shane Steichen, if they're down, they just don't use Jonathan Taylor. So
yeah,
you should, yeah, I mean, so dumb. This is the
I would be
dumbest thing I've
looking to
ever
sit
heard.
him and then James Conner, I do have him in a league. I'm going to be considering sitting him against Detroit because Tampa Bay struggled to run the ball against Detroit. Detroit does not have a problem when it comes to stopping the run. They have a problem in stopping the pass. So I would be looking to sit James Conner this week as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. I don't love the matchup for him. I think it's
Yeah.
unfortunately I have him in a couple leagues, so that's rough.
Yep.
Must start wide receiver, Jamar Chase. I think he is going to absolutely eat the Commanders' lunch. So Jamar Chase. What else can you say? I mean, there's not a whole lot to say right there. My must
I
sit
love
of
it.
the week is somebody who's real hot right now, Devontae Adams, the Carolina secondary. Their team is garbage. That secondary is good. They were like second in yards given up last year. They're a really good secondary. They're gonna double cover Devontae. I would stay away this week.
No, I like that. Must start of the week is Chris Godwin. They're playing Denver. He got a ton of targets. That's Baker's favorite receiver right now, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
for
Him
sure.
and I mean, if you have Mike Evans or Chris Godwin going against Denver, one of them's probably going to end up scoring a touchdown. I would start both of them. Another one I really like is Amon St. Brown against Arizona. I think Detroit is going to put up some points. I think Amon Ra is going to. I mean, he's a must start any week, just about. But I really like him this week.
Yeah.
You already said your must sit. I mean, I'm sitting Miami receivers. I think Waddle is a sit, but I think you keep Tyreek in your lineup. And here's why. I do think that they're still going to purposely design plays to set Tyreek up for success, but I think Waddle is just not at the same level as Tyreek for them to be able to do that. I see if Waddle were to get some receptions or targets, it's probably going to be a bunch of quick slants, quick outs, but most of those are going to go to Tyreek.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I would agree.
that's where I'm going to head there. Chris Olave is a huge start of the week, I think, against Philadelphia as
I
well.
like that. I like that. And then must start tight end, Brock Bowers. The kid is electric. I'm gonna take a second here to toot the old horn. When the Raiders took Bowers in the draft, everybody was like, they just took Michael Myers. He can't take another tight end. It's such a high spot. It's just tight end. Da, 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 da. No, I said it then. I'll say it now. Brock Bowers has the potential to be the best tight end in the NFL for the next 10 years. You have that guy, you go get that guy. Like, dude's an absolute animal. Dude's a freak. He's the best tight end in the NFL in fantasy so far this season. Start Brock Bowers. Have no worries about this man because he will get you your dub. Okay, Brock Bowers.
You're kind of going to be surprised with mine. So, who did Kansas City play week 1 and give up a bunch of tight end points to? Isaiah Likely.
Yeah.
Okay. Who did Kansas City play week 2 and give up a bunch of tight end points to?
The Bengals.
Yeah,
Gesicki.
Mike Gesicki. So who does I'm going to ride that. Who does Kansas City
You're
play in
gonna
week
you're gonna
3?
do the thing. You're gonna
I'm
make him a must start.
I'm making Kyle Pitts a must start this week.
What?
So obviously, from what we've seen so far this year, Kansas City has a great tight end, but for
Whoa.
some reason they don't know how to defend a great tight end. So I'm
Yeah.
just gonna rock it, and I'm gonna go with Kyle Pitts.
That's crazy. I like it. I like the faith. Did you hear what David Bakhtiari said though?
I did not.
So David Bakhtiari was on a podcast. Speaking of Travis Kelsey, that's where this came from. He was on a podcast this past week, and they asked him, like, what are you thinking about the season? And he's giving some thoughts, and then he breaks out the story, and he's like, "Yeah, I know a lot of guys who don't even know their own playbook." And he's like, the host is like, what are you talking about? He's like, "Yeah, I won't throw these guys out and like throw them under the bus, but there's a quarterback, receiver, or pass catcher combo that basically what happens is the pass catcher used to play quarterback and he knows defenses so well that he just completely ignores the play every time and just goes out there and runs a route that he knows the defense will be vulnerable to. And
Hmm.
basically, Travis Kelsey's like one of the only major tight ends that used to play quarterback. And so that basically threw them right under the bus. Basically saying Travis Kelsey just goes out there and plays backyard football every snap, which I thought was hilarious.
I mean, that's kind of cool. I mean, if that's true.
Yeah. If it's true. It's just this is coming from him. But you got anything
Yeah.
else?
I mean, it was him and probably Hunter Henry that I'm definitely starting this week.
For sure. For sure. All
But,
right. Well,
well, I do have a question for you.
yeah. Hit me.
So, just maybe a couple fantasy questions. So, obviously,
Yeah.
you're moved on from Michael Pittman. You think
Yep. Done.
are you telling the people at home that if they have if they have him on their team, should they go ahead and drop him and pick up somebody else?
I wouldn't say drop him. Oop, didn't mean to put that up on screen yet. I wouldn't say drop him. Okay, dropping him's a bit extreme because he is a guy that you can slot into your flex from here on out and do
Okay,
a spot start, in my opinion. But you
right.
try to move him. You definitely move him. He's got upside, so there's still a market for that. I move him. I moved him. I took Devonte Adams, top 10 wide receiver, and put him with Pittman, who I believe is a top 30 wide receiver, and I paired that to get Justin Jefferson, who I believe is a top 5 wide receiver. You know, you
That's fair.
gotta I that's you gotta move on. I take one of your main threats, like your main weapons on your team, package them with Pittman, and try to acquire somebody just a little bit better because I don't believe that Pittman is going to be the difference in you winning and losing games every week. I feel or he will be the difference in you winning and losing because of the lack of production consistency. I feel like some weeks he'll have 16, other weeks he'll have 4. Some weeks he'll have 12, other weeks he'll have 8. And I don't want all that noise. I want somebody I know is going to get the ball, somebody I know is going to get points, cut dry and simple. And part of that is Anthony Richardson. He's not the straight up passer that I thought he would be more of this season. I thought he would be a little bit more of a passer, but he's more of a runner. He is I try not to draw this comparison, but very much early Cam Newton. Like very much. If he misses high and he's a superhuman athlete. So
Yeah.
I would I would move off Pittman just short of dropping him. I wouldn't drop him. That would be
Okay.
too much. But
Would you? So Isaiah Likely, is
mhm.
he a drop or do you
No,
hold on to
no,
him?
hold on to him for at least 2 or 3 more weeks and, hold it in there and just see what can happen.
Okay. I'm gonna go over a couple quarterbacks too that I'm
Yeah,
gonna
for sure.
ask you. Anthony Richardson, are you over him? You hold on, like, do you start somebody else this week? He's playing Chicago. If somebody wasted their fourth or fifth round pick on Anthony Richardson, do you sit him and tell them to pick up a different quarterback and start him this week, or do you stick it out?
No, no, because he has the rushing upside, there's absolutely a world in which he has 2 rushing touchdowns this week.
Okay.
Like, absolutely a world, and then, I mean, you're sitting at 12 points right there. All he's gotta do is throw for a couple 100 yards, and you're at
Yeah.
18. I mean, that's you I think very highly of him because of the rushing upside. It's the upside is through the roof. So I still Anthony Richardson is still a top 5 quarterback to me in fantasy. You still a weekly start to me in fantasy. Stick with him.
To all the people that drafted Caleb Williams as their backup or their starter,
That was dumb.
it was dumb, and I've seen it happen. Are you done with him? Just put him back on the waiver.
Yeah, put him back on the waiver.
Okay.
Unless you're in a dynasty league where, down the road you could use him, throw him to the waivers. He's not going to be useful this season.
All right. I have another one for you too.
Yeah, hit me.
Another fantasy question. Brian Robinson Jr.
Yeah, I love it.
He is coming off 2 weeks where he scored 17 and 14 fantasy points. He did do one of those against the Giants. Are you ready to go ahead and try to trade him for some value, or do you
I
hold on to
actually
him?
did try to trade him for some value, but I'm also good with holding on to him. He's a guy that I think is a 10 to 15 point guy every week, very consistently going to be in that range, maybe 8
Okay.
to 15 points every week, very consistently in that range. And that can provide value if you're strong at the running back position in the trade market or on your team, right? So if you need running back depth, you keep him, stash him, use him throughout the season. And if you are really strong and you have 3, 4 other backs that you're like, no, I don't need this guy, get a receiver for him, get something out of him, shoot a guy an offer for you know, a Jordan Addison who's banged up right now but has high upside, a Raheed Shaheed who's really hot right now. So, somebody that you know, need versus a want.
Okay. Cool. I do want to go ahead and tackle someone too that I missed on my waiver wire pickup because his name just popped up and I forgot to write him down. Alexander Madison. I would.
Sell.
I.
Get rid of.
You think get rid of?
Get rid of it. It's a trap. It's a trap.
Is it
He's
always a trap?
he's the best backup that you could ever want. But if he has to carry the load, he can't do it.
No, he can't do it, and he's not carrying the load. But he is
No,
a
no, no, no.
great in PPR. He is great to have coming out of the backfield. But I don't know. I was just curious because I left him off my list. I meant to have him on, but I
I'm
was
not high on him. I'm
okay.
not high on him. Any other ones?
Um, I'm looking at the moment
Yeah,
because
no
I.
problem, no problem.
But no, you're good, dude. Malik Neighbors. Do you sell him after going off for 28 points?
If you're in a regular league, probably. I would probably try to move off of him and try to go get a more consistent
If
option.
you're in Dynasty, no,
Yeah,
absolutely not.
Dynasty, you
Do not
keep
move
that
off of him.
dude. You
Yep.
don't. Mm-mm. But he will definitely have 4 or 5 more of these games where
Right.
he goes off. But then he's going to also have games where they can't run the ball and they're trying to force feed him the ball. And he's going to have 15 targets, but he's only going to have 5 receptions because he's going to be double covered every game. He'll have 7 catches for 45 yards and 15 targets, right?
Right.
So he's going to be inconsistent. If you're strong at the receiver position and you can afford to spot start him, keep him by all means. But if he's your wide receiver 2 right now, I would try to move.
Okay. And then, yeah, that's all I got.
Oh, you got? All right, cool, cool,
Yep.
cool. We'll move on to the last segment of the show here. I'll pull it up on the screen. Let me do a couple things here on my cellular
Oh, are
device
you
to
gonna
get
make
this
me do
going.
this by
I
myself?
am gonna make you do this by yourself because
Jesus,
there's nobody
bro.
else here to do it with you.
This is gonna be
And
fun. Here. 7. Hold on.
oh,
Right
oh,
back.
I don't know where he went. All right, well, if you're listening, so real quick, we're gonna have a little player comparison, player A versus player B, right here. Boom, boom. Okay, these are games started. Hey, he's back. Okay, so games
Yep.
started here, 31 and 31. These are their most recent 31 games started. They are both quarterbacks currently playing in the NFL, starters for teams going into this season. Trying to think of anything else I should say. And yeah, these are their stats. I'm just gonna go over them real quick. Passing yards, 83-85 to 77-33. Passing touchdowns, 55 to 57. Interception and fumbles, not lost only. So that doesn't mean lost fumbles only. That means anytime they put the ball on the ground. So interceptions plus all fumbles, 39 to 40. So turnovers are similar, touchdowns are similar. One guy has a 500-yard advantage in yards, completion percentage 67-1 versus 64-8, and then Pro Bowl plus. So that's Pro Bowl or All Pro. So either or, and that is not so. Say you had a Pro Bowl wide receiver in the first part of the season because it's over 2 seasons pretty much. First season, if they're also Pro Bowl in the second season, that's only one. So total guys that were Pro Bowl or All Pros that you played with. Um, their defensive ranks for 22 and 23, their O-line ranks for 22 and 23 via Pro Football Focus, and their individual Pro Bowls. All right, so each of these guys has made a Pro Bowl within the past 2 seasons. Here are the defensive ranks, the line ranks via Pro Football Focus. Like I said, they're the best, offensive line rankings type situation out there. Any names jump to mind? Anything come to mind?
Well,
This is not an easy one.
I'm gonna go ahead and ask: is either of these guys? No, one's not a Viking. Darnold does not have any
Nope.
Pro Bowls, so
Nope.
it can't be a
Neither
Viking.
of them is a
Perfect.
Viking.
So let's get that
Neither
out
of
of the
them is a
way.
Viking.
Um.
Both of them are quarterbacks. Both of them play in the AFC.
Okay. So that narrows it down. So now I should be able to guess pretty easily. I feel like.
So you're looking at over a turnover a game for both guys. So high turnover rates.
Yep.
Any guesses?
I don't think one's gonna. One might be Josh Allen. Actually, now
You
that
have
I
a
think
guess
about it.
on which either one is. The guy on the left is about 270 yards a game. Is about 250 yards a game.
Okay. Am I way
So
off with Josh Allen?
no,
Honestly,
no, 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 no. You
because
are
I was gonna lean towards Josh Allen being B.
B. Ding, 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 ding.
Okay,
B is Josh Allen.
perfect.
Oh, I'll just back out a little bit. There we go.
So AFC. It's not like I'm cutting off players as I go. Like I know it's not
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
be
yeah.
Trevor. It's not going to be Trevor Lawrence. It's
A is an East Coast team.
yeah. Okay. It's not going to like I said. It's not going to be Trevor.
Nope, no Trevor Lawrence.
It's not going to be the Jets. Don't. I mean, I guess it could be Rogers. I
It's
don't
not
think it's going to be
Rodgers.
Rogers because you're not going to include him since he's. It's not going to
Nope,
be a Patriot. It's not going
nope.
to be.
Both of these guys started the season as starting quarterbacks for their respective franchise.
I mean, it could be Tua. Tua could be A. Is it Tua?
Is that an official guess?
That's an official guess.
It is Tua. Tua
Okay.
is A. So I just wanted a little, you know, this isn't anything crazy, but Josh Allen consistently has had great defenses, right? He's
Right.
had, according to Pro Football Focus in 23, he had a top 10 O line. And, before that, it was rough. But Tua has not had top 10 defenses, has not had any defensive help, and has not had great O line play, but has had more yards, less turnovers, higher completion percentage. And I know Tua has Tyreek and Jalen Watt. Like, Josh Allen's had Stephon Diggs this whole time pretty much. He's had Dalton Kincaid. He's had weapons. Don't sit here and pretend like the Bills haven't had great weapons. And they've only each made the same amount of Pro Bowls. Now, obviously, the rushing upside with Josh Allen is astronomically higher than it is with Tua. But my point is that Tua is just as good of a passer as Josh Allen is. And I feel like that respect doesn't get served. I don't know. Am I
That's fair.
wrong? Am I wrong about that?
No, I mean it's just looking at the O line ranks, it makes total sense why Tua is having concussion problems.
Yeah,
That's all I'm
seriously.
gonna
I
say.
mean,
That's what
they
I'm
are
gonna say
not
about
helping
that.
him out down here
No.
at that situation. But I definitely I'll pull this off the screen now. Go back to twos. I definitely believe that Tua is, a top 15 quarterback in the league. Um,
Yeah.
but as I've said before, Josh Allen's a top 15 passer in the league. He's a top 5 quarterback, maybe even top 2, but he is a top 15 passer of the football. And because Tua is very one dimensional, I feel like he's very likely to get slotted in that top, 11 to 15 spot.
Fair.
But all right, well, that'll conclude our fantasy football episode.
Do you want
He's
to
oh,
tell the
oh,
people at home how you did in our little survivor pool?
I did not do well. I went 0 for 2, back to back weeks.
Yep, I'm 2-0. I picked Seattle week 1 and Washington week 2. Picked two teams that nobody picked at
I
all
picked
because they're staying
Baltimore and
away from
Cincy.
them. Yeah,
Baltimore and Cincy.
it's rough, man.
Baltimore and Cincy.
Probably have to lean towards the NFC South now.
I'm just gonna go cry in the corner, really. That's my plan.
All
But all
right.
right. Sounds
Thank you
good.
guys.
Thank you guys for joining. Like, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you hanging around. We'll see y'all next week.